Inmate advocates in New York are outraged over a Justice Department report which found that 3 of the state's prisons and 1 county jail have high rates of guard-on-prisoner sexual abuse, more than any other state.
There are so many of them within one state with the same problems, then you really have to look at the people running the State Department of Corrections.
Bayview Correctional Facility in Manhattan and Attica Correctional Facility took the 2nd and 3rd spots for prisons where about 6.5% of inmates reported being physically forced or threatened into engaging in sexual activity by staff. Additionally, 10% of female inmates at Bayview and about 7% of male inmates at the Elmira Correctional Facility say they've also been coerced or threatened without violence into performing sex acts. Assemblyman Jeffrion Aubry, chair of the Corrections Committee, says he'd like to visit the sites and have public hearings on the issue.
To see whether or not our policies and the law are being obeyed as they should.
Sexual misconduct is considered by many a consequence of being locked up, but officials and inmate advocates say we should care what happens behind these walls.
If you send somebody who's already troubled to prison and they come back and have undergone the horrors of rape, they're subject to come back in worse shape and maybe be more violent.
The State Department of Corrections says it has zero tolerance for sexual abuse and encourages staff and inmates to report any problems. DOC's spokesman, Eric released this statement. "We will work with the Department of Justice to see, based on the anonymous self-reporting data presented, if there are in fact identifiable patterns of abuse and to determine how much of the issue may be a question of interpretation and perception." Inmate advocate David Kaiser says the report's release only brings awareness and the hope of change.
The first step is sunshine.
In Manhattan, Erin, Billups, New York 1.